Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Tom. Today, before we begin today's session, I would like to go over confidentiality before consent forms. So everything that we do discuss in this room will stay in this room. The only reasons that confidentiality would be broken is if you share to me that someone is hurting you, you're hurting others, or you're hurting yourself. And also it applies if you give me permission to share with others, then that's okay as well. Do you have any questions about this?
Oh, thank you so much for explaining. I completely understand.
Oh, perfect. So now we'll discuss a little bit about the consent forms in order to receive services. So we do need this consent form signed by you, acknowledging that you read everything and that we went over it together. So I'll go over it page by page. So the first page of the consent form, it discusses the topics that we'll discuss further, such as HIPAA treatment, payments, and healthcare options. So this first page also discusses goals, the risks and benefits of counseling and appointments. And in counseling, the goals are set by you. And so we do work together, but also depending on what you want to work on. So it's all about you.
Okay, yeah, that's really helpful to know. I just have a quick question. What if I need help creating a goal?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So we do assist you with coming up with ideas, but they ultimately have to be something that you want to work on. So it has to be something you're passionate about, something that you see that you want to improve on. But we do help you come up with ideas to help you reach that goal. Um, and I do want to mention really quickly that sometimes counseling can bring up some unpleasant memories, maybe some hard things that you haven't remembered in a while. But sometimes clients do make improvements, and sometimes it takes a little longer for other clients, and sometimes it may not work always. So it just depends on the person and maybe a little slower than others.
Okay, yeah. And what if I don't feel like I do better in sessions? Will I still get something out of our time together?
Yes, that's a really great question. So yes, there is always something new to learn. We like teaching here coping skills. We also kind of learn how to manage anger, reduce some of those mental health symptoms as well. So like the goal we create together, it may not be completely completed, but at least you did learn something through the sessions. And then regarding appointments, this does cover appointments as well. So sessions are usually about 50 minutes to an hour. As of right now, we'll have you come in once a week on the time that you would like and that I'm available. And then the frequency does depend on whether we're completing our goals and like the progress. It may be shorter, it may be longer. For example, it might be biweekly or monthly as well.
Okay. And what if I cannot come to my session due to an emergency that comes up?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So we do prefer, if possible, a 24-hour notice of cancellation. However, we do know that life happens and there's emergencies that occur, and we will not charge for counseling sessions that have a significant reason, because we completely understand that.
Okay, that's good to know.
And then on the next page, it'll discuss here about confidentiality and telemedicine and technology. So I know we discussed a little bit about confidentiality in the beginning of today's meeting. And so adding on to that, I know I mentioned if you do give us permission to share your information, we can also break confidentiality for that. But for security purposes, I do have to have you fill out a release of information form. So this is just that, you're allowing me to share this information. I'm not just sharing it, because I want to. And then in regards to telemedicine, telehealth, so a client must sign an agreement as well that you acknowledge that you would want to receive services through these means. And that could include an email, a phone, or video counseling. Do you have any questions about that?
No, I'm really glad that that's an option, and I'll definitely be utilizing that. But no, I think I understand everything. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, and then this other page, so it discusses some issues that can occur with phone sessions. So for example, there can be like connectivity loss, and it's kind of hard sometimes through phone counseling. It might not be also for that person. Like you realize that, oh, I don't like that means of counseling. So we can totally discuss that. And also about that, so about like telehealth, we are not allowed to record a session, still talk about it. That's still part of confidentiality. And there's a little more information here if you'd like to read a little more about it.
Okay, yeah, I totally understand everything that you're saying, and I don't have any questions at the moment.
Okay, awesome. And this next page, they discuss emergencies and record keeping. So we do have a file of what we discuss, and in case of an emergency, we do have an emergency contact. Can you provide us a name and phone number, please?
Yes, absolutely. I will write down both of my parents on the form.
Okay, perfect. That'd be really great. Okay, and then yes, so in regards to record keeping, like I mentioned right now, so we do keep a note of all the our notes from sessions, and these have the same confidentiality as right now when we're talking in person. It still applies, so we're still not sharing it to others. It stays here. And then there's a little more information here. It's a little long, but if you want, we can also go over it whenever you have questions.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I don't have questions at the moment.
Okay, perfect. And then this next page right here, it discusses the fees and types of therapy. So we do accept health insurance, as most health insurance do have like mental health coverage. However, some companies do require an authorization beforehand, before starting services. So we just need to look more into that, making those arrangements before sessions. And they also might not cover full session fee, so we just need to make sure we have all that figured out.
Okay, yes, I'll definitely provide you and your team with my insurance card so we can look at that.
Okay, perfect. And then this last page discusses the best way to contact me, such as leaving a voicemail. Usually I am not available through phone. I'm either with another client or doing notes, going out with clients. The best way to probably reach me would be by email. And then your phone call will be returned within around 2 business days. And then we would also like to keep your email in our records as well in order to provide either some information or check in with you once in a while. Is this something that you'd be open to providing us with?
Yes, absolutely. I would like to receive emails, please. If you're ready to write it down, my email address is tom@clinic.org.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, and then this last part of the last page of the consent form, so it's just consenting to treatment. So we do require a signature, your printed name, your date of birth, and the date to consent to services. And this is an agreement between both of us, and I also need to sign the form as well. Would you like to consent to treatment?
Yes, I would absolutely like to begin services as soon as possible, please.
Okay, perfect. And then if you can please fill this out, and then we can begin services next week, if that's okay with you. Would you like a copy of our consent form sent through email?
Yes, please. I check my emails regularly, and it's important for me to have a record of everything.
Okay, perfect. So I'll send it after our meeting today. And at our next meeting, we will be conducting a biopsychosocial assessment and we'll start developing our goals for our treatment plan. And we want to make sure these goals are, again, specific, smart, measurable, achievable, and relevant to what you decide to work on in our sessions. Do you have any last questions before we end today's session?
No, everything is really clear. You did a great job explaining, and I really understand everything.
Okay, that is great. We'll see you next week, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Thank you. Mhm.